China's nuclear arsenal is likely to more than triple by the year 2035. That's according to a report released by the Pentagon. The report has highlighted improvements to China's nuclear as well as conventional forces, including increased sophistication of the country's air force. Pentagon report says China is expected to have a stockpile of 1,500 nuclear warheads by the year 2035, if it continues with its current nuclear pace of nuclear expansion. Remember, Pentagon has been sounding an alarm over China's nuclear program for some time now. But the latest projections underscore mounting U.S. concerns about Beijing's intentions. U.S. Defense Department says China's nuclear buildup could impact regional stability.
The challenge here is the more proliferation there is, the more concerning it is, the more destabilizing to the region it is. So certainly we would want to ensure from a regional, global and regional stability standpoint that we can maintain an open dialogue to ensure there's transparency and that we understand what the intent is behind this.
Even if China will have 1,500 nuclear warheads by the year 2035, that figure will be far lower than arsenals of United States and Russia, each of which have several thousand nuclear warheads. China says it is ready for dialogue, but with a condition that the United States reduces its nuclear stockpile to China's levels. But it is not just the nuclear program of China. The report speaks about China working to modernize its ballistic missiles that could deliver nuclear weapons. The Pentagon report emphasizes that China has launched around 135 ballistic missiles for testing and training in 2021, more than the rest of the world combined, excluding those fired in conflicts. According to the report, China's air force is rapidly catching up to Western air forces. Professor James D.J. Brown is an international affairs expert and is now joining us live from Tokyo. Hi, James. Welcome to WION. China says its arsenal is dwarfed by those of the United States and Russia and added that it is ready for dialogue, but only if Washington reduces its nuclear stockpile to China's levels. Do you think the United States will compromise?
Well, I think that's very unlikely. Unfortunately, at the moment, tensions internationally are so high that rather than this being an era for reducing the number of nuclear weapons, it's very likely that the countries will continue to increase them. So I think rather than the US coming down to China's levels, instead we're more likely to see China continuing to catch up and to join that exclusive group of the United States and Russia of having thousands rather than hundreds of nuclear weapons.
James, Chinese leader Xi Jinping signaled in October that China would strengthen its strategic deterrent, a term often used to declare nuclear weapons. What would be the impact of this move?
So I see this as very significant because it does seem to indicate a change in China's nuclear doctrine. Up until now, their approach has been very different from that of the United States and Russia. Up until now, they've sought to retain what you might describe as a sort of minimal nuclear deterrent, where they would simply have a few hundred nuclear weapons and they would have a no first use policy, meaning that they would only use nuclear weapons if nuclear weapons were used against them first. What this perhaps suggests is that China is changing that and is instead looking to enter that group with the United States and Russia, having thousands of nuclear weapons and even possibly abandoning that no first use policy.
James, finally, and this is simple, should the island nation of Taiwan be worried?
Yes, I think so. And if we make a connection here between East Asia and the situation in Europe, of course, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has not gone well. But in one respect, it has shown that the possession of nuclear weapons can be effective for aggressive operations, because Russia's possession of nuclear weapons has stopped NATO countries from getting directly involved in that conflict. So there is the danger that China might look at that example and think, if we have sufficient nuclear capabilities, perhaps that can ensure that the United States wouldn't come to Taiwan's active defense in the case of a Chinese attack.